Hello and welcome. I am the Suit&Tie Dip&ChewGuy, and this is a for beginners video. This is for beginners, straight versus natural. Basically, this is going to be a real quick definition of what the two are, because someone had asked, and then a run through of your main choices in each category. All right. So basically, because there is confusion out there, especially amongst new people, what the difference is between straights and naturals. Because depending what you look at and what you see where, sometimes they're both billed as sort of a natural tobacco flavor. Not quite. The closer of the two are naturals. And their defining quality is, and it changes in between all of them, is a salty taste. All right? Plain dark fire tobacco with a definite salt presence. All right? Whereas straights are billed as a dark fire tobacco flavor that has been sort of spiced and sweetened. But the real big defining deal with them is being sweetened, all right? They usually taste a little darker. They taste a little richer. In my opinion, the tobacco flavor is much subdued, but a lot of this is my opinion. Now, it's very hard to describe what the flavor of straight is. They're in the first tier, the premium dip lines, there are three different categories of flavor. All right, so maybe I will do them first. So I often say on here, refer to something as a classic straight. What do I mean by that? Basically, it's a flavor of straight that is in line with the original straight, and the original straight was Skoal Classic Straight. It is the longest lasting and oldest straight product that I know of. I do not believe there were any straights before this, or something that would be named as a straight that was on the market pre-1980s and then taken off. This is the first straight that I am aware of. If you know otherwise, then leave a comment in the comment section. But when I refer to classic straight flavor profiles, it's not so much that I'm referring to the classic in the name of the Skoal product. I am referring to what this product tastes like. All right. So there's two others like this in the premium line, in my mind. All right. And they are the Grizzly regular line product straight and the Kodiak product. All right. Out of the three, I prefer the Kodiak. I actually like the Kodiak. It is the only straight profile flavor that I like. It's the Kodiak product. Keeping in mind, nicotine does not play into that, because besides the long cut wintergreen, Kodiak dips are of normal nicotine levels. All right, it's only the wintergreen that is heightened. So these are the three classic straight flavors that are premium brands. All right. Then you have the Grizzly Dark Select and the Copenhagen Straight. These I put separate from the previous three because these have a definite smoky flavor character to them. It's somewhat present in the Copenhagen product, and this is what set this product apart when it first came out. All right. What Grizzly American Snuff Company most likely did was they built off the Copenhagen product a sort of clone, and they upped the smoky aspect. So this is sort of like smoky light, and this is smoky heavier. Okay? So those two I set aside, in my head anyway, from the classic straight flavor profile. And then you have my everyday, my what I dip every day, and that is Stoker's Straight. Stoker's Straight does not have the smoky aspect, but at the same time, it doesn't have the classic profile either. It is, I always describe it as sort of tangy. It's rich, it's very sweet, and it's tangy. All right? So that is what I use on a daily basis. Now, once you get into the second tiers, which are all right products, they're usable, and the third tiers, which I would only use Longhorn out of that tier. I'm not even going to talk about the rest of them. All their straights are built on the classic flavor profile. All right? So you have in the middle tier, you have Red Seal, Timberwolf, okay? And they all sort of stay to the classics. Now, what is the classic profile? The classic profile, the thing I hear most wherever I see talk about it, is sort of a root beer-esque flavor, all right? Now, what ones are more spice, what are less? Really, more spice or less isn't really... It's not really a matter of that. It's how they are. It's not how much spice, it's how it's spiced. And that's why the classics are different than the smoky ones and then you got the Stokers, which isn't really following any of them. So it's the classic profile, the smoky profile, and then the Stoker sits off the side. Second and third tier products always follow the classic profile. When it comes to upper tier straights in pouches, real limited, you only have two choices, and up until a few months ago, it was only one choice. But Skoal re-released its classic straight in pouches, and Grizzly had it. That is a limited can, obviously. It's the only one I have of this. Both of them, as far as pouches go, I thought were all right. I sort of preferred the Grizzly pouches a little bit more. Fine cuts with straights, non-existent anymore. Technically, those pouch products are fine cut. Skoal used to have a fine cut straight. They do not anymore. There is only one company now that has a fine cut straight. And to tell you the truth, I don't think I even really need to mention it. But because somebody's going to ask me in the comments section, I will. Klondike has a fine cut straight. But, yeah, just don't. So let's move over now. Getting away from the straights, let's move over to the naturals. Now, naturals are Copenhagen's. They started out as snuffs, and snuffs are still made. And then the companies also sometimes make fine cuts. Like Grizzly makes a long cut natural, a fine cut natural, a snuff, and up at the other end, they make a extra long cut. All right? So basically, they have 4 different cuts of natural with Grizzly. So you have the Grizzly product, which are these. This is the long and extra long cut. And then you have a fine cut, and you have the snuff. Then they face off against the original long cut natural, which was Copenhagen long cut, okay, which came out, I guess, in early 98. And then you have, oh, wait a minute, there we go, the Copenhagen extra long cut. Now, Copenhagen does not have a fine cut, but obviously they do have a snuff, Copenhagen snuff. So these are facing off the Grizzly products. Personally, The Copenhagen products are a little bit saltier, and the moisture level is a little bit higher, and I prefer them. All right. Besides that, the Grizzly products rather have a American snuff. They have a slightly different flavor. All right, that's present through the line, and these I don't mind, but I prefer the Copenhagen products. Then you have the Stoker's product, which is a natural with, it's a salt bomb. Okay, it is probably the saltiest dip on the market in my mind. I like it, but at the same time, the salt is to a level where I see why people don't. Okay, and there is a fine cut version of this, which is sort of along the same lines. The fine cut version of the Stoker's doesn't have a snuff. It's the fine cut natural is sort of like their stuff. It is a very soft, considering it's fine cut, easy to pinch product. And if you wanted to get into fine cut / snuff naturals, that is the one, if you could find it, I'd suggest you go with. You might not like the salt level in it, but getting used to a fine cut, if you're insisting on natural and you want to do fine cut snuff, it's a good starting point on the pinching aspect. And then, if you don't like salt, if you want a natural and you don't like salt, which I don't think there's actually too many people out there that are looking for a natural but don't want the salt that comes with it, but I'm sure there are some. You have Skull Classic, which everybody forgets about or misreads when they're looking from the counter or can't find, period. Skull Natural is a natural with a pretty significantly reduced salt content. It is very mellow. I actually like it. I know a lot of people think it's too mellow, like it's too blah, all right? And then you have another choice. You have a Sweetened natural. And that is known as Copenhagen Southern Blend. And that's basically what it is. It's a sweetened natural. All right. You go down through the second tier, and they vary in saltiness and whatnot. You know, you have the Red Seal product in the second tier. You have the Timberwolf product. If it is still around, there is a Cougar product, but this is a dying line. It's been taken off my online retailers, and I'm not quite sure if this is surviving. It's got a flavor I do not like. I think it was a quality product. I actually like the can, but it and the snuff, it's almost as if they were naturals that got kept in maybe a bourbon barrel for a few years too long. There was a very, very odd background flavoring that I did not care for. Now, basically, with the exception of the Stoker's product, the Copenhagen and the Grizzly come in pouches for the naturals. The Skull product does not. The Southern Blend does not have a pouch product. But even in the straights and the natural second tiers, the Red Seals and the Timberwolf, they all have pouched versions. Longhorn of both, which is the only third tier product I'm really going to mention, has pouched products. But these are basically the choices. Now, as I said, in the naturals, it goes from company to company. The difference is very slight changes in taste, but the big difference in the naturals is the salt contents. You got the Skull product that it's there. There's salt there, but it's low. All right. And at the other end of the spectrum, you got the Stoker's product, which is like upending a shaker of salt in your mouth, basically. All right. Then you have the Copenhagen and the Grizzly products. The Copenhagen are a little bit saltier than the Grizzly products. What I like about the Copenhagen, though, is the tobacco undertone flavor is I like more than the Grizzly undertone flavor, and the Copenhagen products have higher moisture levels. But really, when it comes to there's a price difference between Grizzly and Copenhagen, obviously. But between the two, for someone that, is okay with money and, willing to pay $1.50 difference or whatever it is, it's a personal thing. It's basically whatever that background flavor dictates. All right, you'll probably like both of them, but you'll like one more than the other when it comes to the Copenhagen and the Grizzly products. All right. Now the Copenhagen is the classic product. It is in the fiberboard can still. So anybody that is doing any natural should do this at least once, even if you like something else better. The straights, as I said, they can be put into groups. All right. The stand out by itself, Stoker's Tangy. The smoky products, which is the Copenhagen Straight and the Grizzly Dark Select. And then the classic straight profile, which is I name after Skoal Classic Straight. And these are the two other premium products that are sort of along the same lines. Kodiak and Grizzly. Personally, I prefer the Kodiak. You can never find it in stores, though. Like, nobody can. I don't think I've run into somebody yet that is able to that has said, oh, yeah, I got that in a store up the street from my house. Nah. I ordered them in for reviews. I've done the short format review of this and the original long format. And there has been 2 other times where I've ordered it in. It is a little pricey, too. That's the other thing. Just for myself, like, through the years. So I've probably only had it 4 or 5 times. What is going on here? Need to drink some water? Total, but that is my preferred classic flavor profile straight. So, this has just been a quick overview, differences between straights and naturals. Naturals, salt. Straights, sweet or sweetened. All right, and that is the main differences. That is. Are you a salt guy or you got a sweet tooth? Okay. Yes, neither of them. The straight does not have flavoring that you can pinpoint. It's not like wintergreen or mint. Okay. You can't quite put. Sometimes people with the classic profile straights, they register wintergreen. And they'll be like, yeah, sometimes it tastes like root beer to me, and sometimes it tastes like wintergreen. Well, you know what? That's because one of the things root beer is flavored with is wintergreen. So, there's plenty to choose from, obviously. If you don't, and I am not suggesting use them. I'm not suggesting to put money out at them. Okay, I'm not affiliated with them. But they do have a fairly good-sized collection where you can see what is available. TheNortherner.com. Ridiculous prices, ridiculous shipping. I wouldn't recommend them to anyone here. But they do have a fairly lengthy list of dip products, and you can see what's available or what companies make. Let me put it that way. And it's all sort of in one place. So, this has been the for beginners straight versus natural. Personally, I go with a straight. But there are naturals that I like. I like the Mellow Skull product. I like the Salt Bomb that is Stoker's. And a few times a year, I get the Copenhagen Extra Long Cut. But, you know, it's all a matter of preference. The big difference is straight, sweet, naturals, salt. I do hope you all are well. This video is thanks to a suggestion from a donor, so thank him. If he is out watching, drop a line. I thank you all for your continued support. I do hope you all are well. Do take care of yourselves, and God bless.